It's Jeanette Brown here. What I want to talk about today is very relevant in the chaotic times that we're in, and that is going through major life change or transition and how we can deal with it. Many people have taken the opportunity to take stock and evaluate their lives, their priorities, their values, and what it is they want for a better life in the future. I know I certainly have taken the opportunity. Here's a little bit of my story, then I will give some strategies on what has helped me and the valuable lessons I have learnt. After much deliberation, I decided to take the plunge and move away from my life in a large organisation and focus fully on my consultancy and coaching business. I had had a long and varied career in education as a teacher, career coach and executive manager. It was an amazing journey in an area that I'm passionate about, lifelong learning and helping people reach their potential and thrive in this rapidly changing world. To prepare for my new life, I made a deliberate effort to have a work-life balance, as my tendency to be consumed by work is quite a big thing for me. This strategy worked at times. Knowing the importance of preparing for major transitions and in fact advising this to people over the years, I prepared well for this using my self-coaching model. Clearly I did not prepare myself adequately for this major change in my life and had to deal with the ramifications. Don't you just love hindsight? So what would I say to someone who is considering making a major transition in their work and lifestyle? Firstly, understand the 3 phases of transition. Understanding the emotional ramifications of going through major change is very important. William Bridges, a world-renowned change consultant for organisations and individuals, developed a transitions model to guide people through significant change. According to William Bridges, transitions have 3 phases. They are ending what currently is, the neutral zone, and in the new beginning. It is important to understand the difference in meaning behind change and transition. Change is an external event, such as relocating your job or a new career. Transition is the psychological process you go through to accept this significant change or transition in your life. So it's very important to know the difference. Now, in the 3 phases that Bridges has developed, you go through them not so much one after the other, but you can sort of go backwards and forwards. And the one aspect of the transition model that you are weakest in is the one that you're going to clearly have the most trouble with. So for me personally, what I identified going through my major change process was that it was the ending. Is having the ending, finishing off and going through that neutral zone. It was very hard for me to cut it off. So one of the things you can do to help you with the ending is actually making sure you acknowledge that there is an ending. Do something to celebrate it. Have a social event. For example, when you're leaving your work, have a social event to define that, this is it, you are finishing that work. And really prepare yourself for that because it is such an emotional time. The middle zone, which is the neutral zone, is the one that can be the very chaotic phase, but also can be the most creative because that's when you're starting to get all those ideas of what you're going to be doing. So it is a really good time to be creative, even though it can be very messy. Then, of course, the new beginning. Now, absolutely with the new beginning, it's so important to work out what it is you want in the future. If you're vague about it, then it just becomes overwhelming and it is all over the place. So you just need to understand what it is and work out what you really want. So the second part to this strategies that I'm going through is understanding the stages of grief, because going through any major life transition, absolutely, whether it is voluntary or not, does have a form of grieving about it. So originally there were the 5 stages of grief, which denial, anger, bargaining, depression and acceptance. More recently, there's been a 6th stage of grief that's been introduced, and that is finding meaning. So it's good to learn more about the stages of grief, because you will go through the different stages at different times. The third strategy I want to talk about is introducing mindfulness into your life. Now, with mindfulness, it's actually becoming more accepting of where you're at, rather than getting fully consumed by all the changes taking place and the unknowns and the uncertainty. It is really good to be able to step back from that and become more mindful. And there's so many ways you can develop mindfulness, integrate it into your life, so that you really, it's a good idea to find out more. My Life Journal course actually has a lot of lessons really on mindfulness and integrating mindfulness into your life, and also having that self-compassion, being kind to yourself through this turmoil. And the fourth strategy is a very important one, and that is about goal setting. Now, it's really important to make sure, as I mentioned before, that you understand what it is that you want in your life. If you're very vague about it, and it sometimes does take time to work out what you do want, but if you're vague about it, it can be very, very messy and you just don't know which direction to take. So really working on your goals for the future is very, very important. And you want to work on your goals guided by your values. So this is a really good time to revisit your values and your priorities in life and what it is you want from the rest of your life. Very, very important. And of course, I would suggest that you would have been doing that before you even enter this major life transition. To finish off, going through any major transition in your life is the opportunity to rewrite your life story. Whether your transition was forced upon you or you chose it yourself, it really is up to you how the next chapter in your life will look like. Through following the strategies I've outlined above, you will understand yourself more, what your triggers are, and you'll be able to move on in a more positive and forward-looking way to the next stage of your life. I hope these strategies help you with whatever life transitions you are going through. If you want to learn more about this topic, click below. All the best in the next chapter of your life story.